Lover's quarrel going on here. Lover's quarrel. Some of the good things happening in life here in Vallejo in Neil's Han Dynasty. Man, that was rough seeing that drama. It was like days of our lives. Nothing compared to what I'm fixing to show you for what the world seems to think about America. And quite frankly, they're not too far off. We do have a chance to change this. Glad it's been brought to the attention of the world, and now I'm going to bring it to y'all's attention. This is very interesting. This is what other countries see in us, and it's sad. It's very, very sad.
Adversary is internal. They are now hollowing out America's spirit and desire to exercise power. The nation is distracted and severely divided. The rival is none but the American youth who have their minds twisted. The American youth is frustrated with the way the world works and all.
Okay, just remember, this is the American youth. She'll give you the number between the ages of 19 and 35. It is not the way Americans feel. Do not get that misinterpretation. This is a study that supposedly was done between only young kids from 19 to 35. That's not a majority by any means.
They see as a solution is embracing the deadly woke ideology. They yield their power in terms of street veto and gun power, leading to complete paralysis of the law and order situation in America. According to a recent survey issued by The Guardian, more than one quarter of Americans feel so frustrated with their government that they believe it may soon be necessary to take up arms against it. Yes, you heard that right. It was also found in the survey that the majority of Americans believe that the government is corrupt and stacked against regular people. That's just one ominous sign. According to Yahoo poll in June 2022, more than half of Americans believe there will be another US civil war in their lifetime and that the country will cease to be a democracy at some point. Furthermore, the majority of young Democratic voters believe the Supreme Court is a racist, sexist institution that needs to be abolished. Almost as many people aged 19 to 39 feel the same way. The list of such polls is never ending, and this indicates that more and more Americans believe the US is pretty damned. The growing hatred that young Americans have for their country is an alarming issue for one of the oldest modern democracies in the world. But how exactly has the youth become so loathsome towards its own nation? Well, the root cause of this issue is none else than the overemphasis on the liberal education system. You see, if one wants to destroy a nation completely and make sure it doesn't recover ever, the most preferred weapon is the destruction of the nation's education system.
Bingo! That's been happening. Now you see why they say 30 years it's been going on. Well, heck, a little bit longer than that, because that's probably why I quit every freaking public high school I went to. Every public school, not high school, every school. Elementary school is the only school I didn't quit because my dad was in the Navy. We moved around a lot, and I was in Europe for most of that. And actually, I got kicked out of second grade in Italy. I got in a physical confrontation with the second grade teacher over, well, exactly what these people are talking about. She was trying to push non-traditional teaching methods on me, and I didn't like it. Anyhow, let's get back to this.
This has been done by numerous barbaric invaders throughout history, and the strategy has remained quite successful. Democrats have done nothing different to stay in power. Believe it or not, the US education system has been indoctrinated with the woke culture in the last few decades. Over the past 30 years, public schools have completely transformed, and most of them are not even aware of what actual education looks like. Make no mistake, under Democrats, the left-wing ideologues run your school district. They are pushing for dogmatic nonsense to be imparted as education to children. They decide what your children learn and what they shouldn't. Democrats have pushed for change in curriculum, filling it with toxic ideologies such as critical race theory and LGBTQ grooming, under the garb of making the education system inclusive. In several places, the curriculum no longer includes works by canonical authors like Shakespeare and Homer. The Democrat backed educational institutions and educators take pride in expelling these patriarchal races. Moreover, teachers are increasingly under pressure to adopt the woke agenda or leave the school. In their replacement, a total woke teacher gets pushed in. Not only this, the school structure has been fabricated in such a way that the opposing sentiments are crushed without even any justification. Yes, the students who oppose woke slogans or voice contrary slogans are not tolerated and are thrown out of their own schools. The school even stresses that opposing wokeness is thought to be motivated by hate. Voicing opposition to woke slogans is tantamount to hate speech. Such worse is the scenario that a student who challenges a woke slogan is bullied and harassed by the woke majority. To be clear, this has all happened in the last 30 years, and honestly, the situation has fallen to such an extent that recovery looks like an impossible task now. Why do you think have the Democrats have been successful in planting their woke agenda in schools? This happened because they had their man in the most important position, that is American bureaucracy. In the last 30 years, Democrats may have ruled for around 16 years. However, the party has always retained its control over the American bureaucracy. This is precisely the reason why Republicans always face trouble in implementing reformative policies. Most of the education reforms in the last few years were initiated by the president themselves under the guidance of these ideologically biased bureaucrats.
Most of those ideological changes were put in place by the presidents Obama, Clinton, Biden, Bush too, the little son of a bitch.
The recent example of Joe Biden is no different. Joe Biden fully embraces the critical race theory and certain elements of gender ideology for K-12 students. You see, the Democratic Party planted mines over the last few years, which have now started to explode. The ones who tried to diffuse it early, like Trump, were ousted by the use of bureaucracy and well-oiled mechanisms. This knotty problem of US educational reforms in the last 30 years has made youth totally absurd and still continues to do so. This waged culture war could indeed set the US on fire. The American youth needs to wake up.
Bingo! Bingo! No bigger cry for homeschooling or private schools if you control the private school than right now, because this stuff has been crazy for 3.5 decades. Because I remember back when I was in second grade, I didn't like what they were teaching because it just didn't seem right. Of course, I'm weird, but that's cool. Anyhow, you guys have a great day. Buy some silver and platinum. When you go to the store, just get 2 of everything that you'd only get 1 of, because you're going to eat it anyhow. And if you get it now, in a week when you were going to get it, you might have saved 50 cents to $1 because it gone up because of inflation. So you're actually saving money by what they call prepping. It's not prepping. It's called being smart. Pick up the food now while it's cheap, food that you eat. Don't let the words prepping or being a prepper sway you either way. It's smart. It makes economic sense. Be kind, helpful, and grateful. That also makes great economic sense, because when times are hard and you want to go to your neighbors and borrow his shovel, if you're a jerk, what do you think his answer's going to be? If you were always kind, helpful, and grateful, karma comes back. You guys have a great day.